I was born between two lovers. Introduction: I am now 18 years old, my mother is 55, my father is 75. So let's start from the beginning. My dad meets my mom out and about when she was 19 and he was 39. He hits on her, and after a year, she's on board. They start dating and stuff until my mother, going to my father's workplace to ask for him, discovers that he had given her the wrong first and last name. Here, my father had to tell the truth. He was married with 3 children. Spoiler, when they were dating, his wife was 3 months pregnant with the third child. She apparently accepted it, and they were lovers for 25 years. They sometimes saw each other secretly for occasional things, I think. The fact is that throughout their relationship, my father always invited my mother to find a good man to build a family since he was not willing to leave his for her. She has therefore dated other men in the meantime, but apparently none worth building a family for. So at 37, she decides she wants a daughter and sets him up. She had talked to him about it first, and he had obviously said no. He wanted her to have an abortion. The fact is that she really wanted a daughter, apparently, and so she swore to him not to tell anyone anything. She told him that he shouldn't give me his surname or support me in any way. So he satisfies her. Because yes, he didn't want it, but from what my father said, she was crying, saying she wanted this fucking daughter, and she accepted the conditions. However, my mother forced him after giving birth to be at least present for me. Otherwise, he would have told his wife. I'll start by saying that before I was born, right in the first years they were dating, the wife had found out about my mother, and they had made a call, where obviously the wife called my mother a slut. My father, instead, got away with it by telling her that my mother was just a one-week affair. So, throughout my childhood, I saw my father a few times a month, for 2 hours maximum. He was absent, and I suffered from it. I cried and always asked for him. My mother, on the other hand, spent all her time at work, and as a result, I was always on the phone with my aunt, my mother's sister, and also at nursery, even from 7 in the morning to 8 in the evening. And don't say your mother worked for you. Don't do that, because she chose this situation. The fact is that on my 9th birthday, they were 25 years, yes, on my birthday. He thinks that shit. After my party ended, I remember very well, at 11 p.m., she wanted to go to the restaurant with him to celebrate, but he said it was too late and that he had to go home to his wife. So my mother gets pissed off, all 3 of us go home, and they start arguing, and she dares to blame me, because apparently I wanted to stay there longer, and as a result, it was late for dinner for him. She leaves him angry, blaming all the shortcomings received, and the lack of presence both for her and for me, what she chose. And she leaves him in front of me crying, obviously, with her blaming me and him repeating that it wasn't my fault. Me with my father as a child, those few memories I have are positive, because precisely when he was there and was with me, we played and I was happy. In the following days, my mother was pissed off and decided to spit out her truth to me, so that my father was married with 3 children and also grandchildren. And I remember very well that he told me this on the bed, and the badness with which he did it. Magically, my father had become the villain of the situation, and she had become the saint. After a few days, he came home, and I sat him in the kitchen, and we sat. I said to him, "How many children do you have?" And he laughed, saying, "What are you talking about? Only you, blah, blah." I had to insist for an hour, and he started admitting that he had a child, up to 3, and a wife, obviously. At 9 years old, I magically had to grow up and face all this alone. 9 years! Obviously, I started to hate my mother, because for me, my father was truly my favorite person and still is despite everything. When I was 11, my mother got together with someone, so as a result, my father never came up to my house, and we would see each other in the car. I remember a bad episode. I was 10 years old, and we were in a shopping center, and we were buying shoes. He sees his son with his wife and runs down to the car. I panic because all I hear is him saying, "his son," and running away. I had to get out in the car to look for him in panic, and he only justified. I thought he had gone away leaving me alone, so I was quite scared. Oh well. The fact is that over the years, I ask 1,000 questions, and he proudly tells me that he has other daughters scattered around Italy. 3, to be precise. Then he doesn't know if he has any others. When I found out, I was disgusted. How can you abandon daughters like that? And above all, don't think about it at all? I often wonder what the mothers of these daughters said to them, and sometimes I consider myself lucky because at least I sometimes see it, and instead they don't even know who I am. I've always blamed my mother for this whole situation because, yes, he sucks as a man, and that's fine, but after knowing that he was married, she should have just left him. Certainly not having a daughter just because she wanted one, and as she says, she was in love. I love my father, but his absence hurt me as a child and continues to hurt me. Now I see him about 3 times a month, usually 2 hours at a time. He calls me almost every evening, just for a couple of minutes, and we still talk. We always see each other secretly, avoiding crowded places as not to risk meeting someone from his family. It's a relationship made of crumbs, but I still care about it because for me, it remains my person. This situation, however, has left some consequences on me. In relationships with men, I tend to get attached immediately, to bond quickly, as if I were always afraid of losing them. And I know that this comes from the relationship I had with my father, from his half presence, from his being there and never being there completely. Now, I would like to know your opinion, especially who is to blame for you? Because sometimes it seems to me that I was not a desired daughter, but only the consequence of the wrong choices of others.